Hello and welcome here to Hornet Studios. I'm Austin Koash and I am by myself tonight as Caleb Rose, my partner throughout this whole season, and Dominic Phillips, the pretty much the equipment manager and films for us. He does most of everything for Hornet Studios. They are living the dream, announcing the MIAA tournament, D2 tournament there in Pittsburgh, Kansas. So it is just going to be me as your Hornets take on the 6-seeded Kapaun Crusaders. And you guys were not able to see, we were not able to live stream the Eisenhower game just Tuesday night, but I was there, and that was one of the most fun games I've been a part of here at my time at Valley Center, as your Hornets defeated the Eisenhower Tigers, the number 3 seeded. The Hornets are a 14 seed, and the number 3 seeded Eisenhower Tigers were beat 55-52, and there was a big crowd for that game. But if you want to talk about big crowds, the Hornets are traveling well. This is not a spot they're normally in. The Hornets are not usually in a sub-state championship game. This game punches your ticket to the state tournament next week. We are at Kapaun Mount Carmel High School, and it's the 6-seeded Crusaders versus your 14-seeded Hornets. Right now, we will have the national anthem, and then I'll be back as your Hornets are going to get tip-off and starting lineups here soon. So, since we did not live stream the game against Eisenhower, while these starting lineups are happening, I am going to give you a little bit of recap of what happened. Well, the Hornets came out. They had a strong first quarter. They started to let go. And then the Hornets came back and were able to stay with the Tigers for most of the game. And that put them in a position where they were able to, down the stretch, able to score and lock down Jordan Vincent. I mentioned lock down Jordan Vincent. The Hornets did that very well against Eisenhower, only allowing 15 points on the game for him. And in the second half, he was silenced from the field goal range and only made, I believe it was one layup and a couple of free throws. That is Jordan Vincent of Eisenhower. So the Hornets knock off the 3 seed. It's all over the newspapers and articles that a 14 seed beats a 3 seed. But the Hornets didn't really care about that. Talking to them this week and after that game, they were excited. There was a storm. We stormed the court after the game. I was part of the student section who did that. But the Hornets were looking to this game, and they think, okay, the Kapaun is good at basketball. They're here for a reason. But the Hornets are here for a reason too. They've put good basketball together all year. Against Eisenhower, they played a great game. The Hornets are going to have to do that tonight if they want to punch their ticket for the first time in 18 years to the state tournament held in Emporia next week. The biggest part and the biggest factor of that game that the Hornets played against Eisenhower, they played a man defense and they stuck to that. And so this is a loud crowd. I don't know if you've already been hearing it, but while those starting lineups, the Hornets have traveled well. But the Crusaders are at home, and they're one of the best student sections in the state. This is a loud stadium, a very big stadium. This is unfamiliar territory for a lot of Valley Centers, so they're coming out to support this Hornets team. And it is electric in here. The Hornets are going to have to use momentum in this game and hopefully be able to succeed as they take on a very good Kapaun team. Number 0, Blake Danishek, is most likely Kapaun's best shooter and scorer, but Kapaun goes off to a hot start. It was number 13, Grant Johnson, who knocked down the first shot. Here's Marion Pons up at the top of the key. The Hornets did a great job running their half-court offense against Eisenhower. Gabe Phillips going to take a jumper off the mark and then rebounded by Johnson, who just hit the 3. He's going to push the floor. So the Hornets got to play solid defense. They're going to keep this man defense up that they started with. Pons almost got a steal. Johnson comes up with it again. They get it back to 0. Danishek inside. Ball tipped around. And then Johnson goes up. He'll be blocked. And then to score will be Will Ancient of the Crusaders. An early 5-0 lead. Hornets got to stop every momentum they can, every momentum shifting play. It's going to be huge. There's not really a home court advantage right now, but the Hornets student section got to get involved. That comes from the Hornets scoring points. Phillips already 2 missed threes, and here come the Crusaders the other way. Up top, that's number 2, Andrew Gamino, over to Anxious, and he'll take a 3 off the mark, rebounded underneath. That rebound was by Stultz. And it will be Crusader ball underneath their own basket. Tiger Jones to pass it in. In the corner. Driving baseline, trying to get around Pons. He did a good job on defense. That's a steal by the Hornets. Jacob Byrne pushing the floor. He slows it down, trying to find something. The Hornets can't turn the ball over. They did a great job against Eisenhower to not turn the ball over. And it gave them extra opportunities to score. Now, what the Hornets have to do is be able to score, looks like, from what we've seen so far, almost every possession. Gabe Phillips going to get things started on the offensive side of the ball for the Hornets. He's taken 3 straight shots down the court, and this time knocks it down on the inside. 5-2 ball game, 5:49 left here in this first quarter. It's already exciting. I'd expect another exciting matchup that the Hornets are going to be in. And again, this is unfamiliar territory. It's been 18 years since the Hornets made it to this point in basketball. They want to be able to score the ball and then move on. The biggest thing is moving on. Talking to all these players, they want to feel that feeling they had against Eisenhower. They have been the underdogs in a lot of games this season, and they put together a lot of good games. And so, like I mentioned earlier, they play good basketball. They have to play great basketball, especially in this game, but moving forward too. At the beginning of the season, Isaacs and company all believe that they could win a state championship, but they have to be able to play smart basketball. And so far, the Hornets have taken a few open shots that they've missed, but they're not playing smart as they already have 2 turnovers on the offensive side of the ball. Isaacs gonna fight for a steal off the foot of the Crusaders, and it will be Hornet basketball. Talk about Eli Isaacs. His defense has been great for the past 2 years, but this year, especially in that Eisenhower game when the Hornets turned it on, and when the Hornets play man, Isaacs does a great job getting steals. Inside, Gabe Phillips, backdoor cut, he'll get the finish, and now it's a 1-point ball game, 5-4. The Hornets got to be able to do that all night, but also get stops on the defensive end. They've done a good job these last couple possessions, but that's because the Crusaders are missing shots, and they're moving the ball fast, and so if they can hit those shots, the Hornets will be in trouble. But right now they're not hitting them, and the Hornets are okay. There's a steal right there, going up, and that's number 12, Stuasats, who gets a layup to go. It's back to a 3-point ball game. Mason Burns, a senior for the Hornets, he hit that game winner in the last regular season game for the Hornets against Arc City. That time that ball goes out of bounds. It was good defense by Kapaun right there. That was number 13, Grant Johnson. He'll head to the bench. Checking in is number 4, Jarius Kennedy. And just like the Hornets have a lot of depth, this Crusaders team has a lot of depth on their end. And one thing about it, they're all athletic and scrappy players. They play very good defense, and they go for every single 50-50 ball. We've already seen that in this game. Checking in was Josh Dessenberger and Braden Dalrymple. Dalrymple has been a big part in his time on this varsity court this year. And like I mentioned, this is a loud gym. The Hornets not handling pressure, or have handled pressure pretty good this year, but in crunch time, when time matters most, they've lost a few games at the beginning of the season. That's where the growth has come. They're able to pull out wins in close matchups like that Eisenhower game was. Byrne inside, he finds a backdoor cut, but it'll be stolen. Tiger Jones, who's the one who got the steal. Gabe Phillips back at the scores table. The Hornets in what looks like a 1-3-1 or maybe 2-3 zone defense. And actually it would be a 2-1-2 now that they finally get things up and I can see what's going on the court. This zones usually allow open shots if the Hornets aren't careful. And right there, Mason Burns, who was just outmatched on the inside by Kennedy, and then Kennedy got the easy 2 on the layup. Byrne splits the defense, ball's in the air. Tiger Jones, a steal. He'll push up the floor, and almost a throwdown dunk by Stuasits, but he will be fouled by Isaacs. He's headed to the free throw line. 9-4 your score, 2:57 left in the first quarter. And here are 2 free throws at the Hornets. Can't go down by 6 or 7 right now in this point of the ball game. I say that, but there's a lot of time to come back. But again, it's the last 1 to 2 minutes of every quarter that the Hornets have been winning. And when they win those, they're able to make surges and come back and start heating up. And then with this crowd that I talked about, they will have the momentum. Right now, it's a loud crowd by the Crusaders, and they're feeling it. They're making shots. 11-4 is our score. Anxia comes back in for the Crusaders. Isaacs, guarded by Kennedy, found Pons. Pons had a major offensive impact in that Eisenhower game that he doesn't usually have. And then on the defensive side of the ball, he was the one who, for the most of the second half, locked down Jordan Vincent. Isaacs on the inside. That'll be a foul called, as he will be called for his second personal foul already in this first quarter, as Isaacs got drawn for a charge right there. He was just trying to drive in, and it'll be a lot of buzzers that the scores table just put off. Not sure what they were calling for, but Isaacs is going to head to the bench. Mason Burns and Gabe Phillips are the ones who checked in just a few moments ago. Kennedy on the inside. He'll drive with the left hand off the mark into the hands of Jacob Byrne. And here's where the Hornets need to score. They have to start scoring points. 4 points in a quarter is unacceptable, especially in a playoff game. Right now they're holding Kapaun to only 11. If they can keep that up while scoring points, they can make that surge I was talking about to end the first quarter. Gabe Phillips tried to get the points inside. The shot did not count, I don't believe, so it will be a foul before, and it'll be Hornet ball underneath their own bucket. Mason Burns to pass it in. Hornets have a really good inbound play and found Byrne. Jacob Byrne took the shot. It was blocked by Logan Woodward, and so it will be Hornet ball on their half of the court, trying to set up an offense. Eli Isaacs not on the court for the Hornets. He's kind of been the floor general this year, and so somebody else is going to have to step up. You know, a lot of the scoring has been produced by Gabe Phillips, Jacob Byrne, and Eli Isaacs this year. Now they have somebody else has to step up. Woodward going to take it up for a layup. 13-4 our score. 2 minutes left in the first quarter. It'll be a timeout called by Valley Center. Coach Unrau wants to settle his team down. I talked about there's high stakes in this ball game, a big crowd. They just need to settle down, let loose a little bit, and just play basketball. Reality is it's just another basketball game, and so the Hornets need to calm down. That's probably what Coach Unrau is telling them here in this timeout. We'll be back here at Hornet Studios when play resumes. And coming back after that timeout, here it is, the Hornets ball after that Woodward layup. Isaacs is being pressured by Kennedy, and that's where he's already gotten himself a foul because Kennedy was pressuring so hard. Again, the Hornets just need to play smart. Just play basketball. You know, Gabe Phillips turns the ball over again. That's been his demise for this Hornets team this season. A step through right there, off the mark by number 0, Danishevich. And here come Isaacs and the Hornets. He'll find Byrne. Jacob Byrne, a quick three. That one way off. Not a rare air ball by Jacob Byrne. And I talked about just they're in a game they're not usually in, and there's a lot of high stakes. They just need to calm down. From what I'm seeing right now, they're not playing terrible. They're just rushing everything they're doing, and it's ending up creating open shots like that for the Crusaders, but then on the offensive side of the ball, they're not being able to score how they usually do. It's a 3-on-2. Isaacs pushing the floor. He goes up with the right hand underneath. He'll be fouled. Eli Isaacs headed to the free throw line. These are points that the Hornets need to convert on in this game because from what I'm seeing right now, it's going to be hard to score in the half court. They need to be able to get transition points, and then if it shall come like Eli Isaacs just did where he draw the foul, he's got to be able to put the free throws in. That one off the back of the rim, hits the front, and is out. And so Braden Dalrymple will check in for Gabe Phillips. I talked about him turning the ball over. He's one of those players that's hard on himself, and sometimes it gets a little bit in his head. So he just needs to take a break, sit on the bench, and then come back in and kind of restart. Isaacs, a tip right there off that pass from Kennedy as he knocked down his second free throw to make it 13-5. That'll be a kickball violation by Braden Dalrymple right there. And if the Hornets are going to run this 2-1-2 defense, they need to be able to extend. Ray Flora checks in for Valley Center. Flora's done a great job this season. His senior leadership is really what sticks out to me, but also his ability to score the basketball on the inside. He's not the tallest player in the world, but he has a great layup package. The Hornets defense trying to recover right there. They weren't able to fast enough. And then Will Anxious gets that bucket to go. Here are the Hornets on offense, running it almost by the half-court line. Pons, he'll be guarded by Woodward. And Pons picked up his dribble in a terrible spot. Good defense. And so far in this game, the Hornets aren't able to score because of the defense. They're missing shots that they should be able to make. Ray Flora drives on the inside, off the mark. And that will be the end of the first quarter, 15-5, your score. A lot of things that the Hornets need to improve on in this second quarter. They have a minute to talk things over, settle themselves down, get something rolling. Game's far from over, and this is probably one of the biggest games of these kids' lives. We'll be back after a short commercial break. And all right, to start this second quarter, 15-5 your score. Hornets, kind of an ugly first quarter, as not a lot went their way on the offensive side of the ball, but they did only hold Kapaun to 15 points. Kapaun likes that as of right now, but if you're the Hornets, we know how fast they can score, and they're going to go back into a man defense, which succeeded against Eisenhower. And so if they can get stops like that and to be able to score the ball, they'll be in a recipe for good news, and there'll be a party in VC tonight if the Hornets can pull this one out. As of right there, it was Woodward who missed. Jacob Byrne with it. He drives baseline. And off the foot of Stuslitz. And so it will be Valley Center ball underneath their own bucket. Eli Isaacs set to pass it in. He finds Gabe Phillips. Phillips is just going to take it out, try to set an offense up, establish something. Not only are you playing this game to win, but you're playing this game to punch your ticket to a state tournament that the Hornets haven't been in many years. And then also, you're looking for a sub-state championship that the Hornets have not got in a long time, too. That will be a jump ball violation, as Jacob Burns tried to drive baseline, and the Crusaders have their ball or their hand on every single ball, so the Hornets have to take care of the ball. They have more turnovers right now than they do baskets. And so here we are, 6:55 left in the first half. Hornets down 10, 15-5. Not a lot has gone on the offensive side of the ball. Isaacs up top, trying to find the high post in Phillips. And then we'll have Braden Gray out by the three-point line. That's not the sight you want to see if you're the Hornets, especially that means he can't get anything going on the inside. Gabe Phillips, a turnaround mid-range, off the mark, and then here come the Crusaders the other way. Slowing it down. This is Tiger Jones. Over to Danishek, and almost a miscommunication, but Tiger Jones was there. Up top, Danishek. That'll be a timeout, a full timeout, called by the Crusaders. They couldn't get anything going on the offensive side of the ball, and their coach went to talk some things over. And we'll be back when play resumes here at Kapaun Mount Carmel. And after that timeout, it was the Kapaun Crusaders who were on offense. They couldn't find anything. Good defense by the Hornets. So they're going to set up a set play right here. And on the inside, Isaacs blocks. That's number 13, Grant Johnson, who had that 3 to start the game off for Kapaun. And here is Eli Isaacs. This student section for Kapaun Mount Carmel is big. It's loud. Hornets have to be able to battle adversity. Already a couple of calls that haven't gone their way. Isaacs drives in, and he'll try to kick out as he got fouled underneath. It'll be Hornet ball underneath their own basket after that foul. That is the third team foul called on Kapaun. That's the second team foul called on number 14, Anxious. And Isaacs at the top of the key, trying to set up an offense. Haven't been able to score for quite some time now. Isaacs, a fast 3, off the backboard and no good. Ball's on the floor. Pons fighting for it. And Marion Pons will find Isaacs, but he will travel. As from our angle up here, from my angle, he did not have possession of that ball, and that is a terrible call because Marion Pons rolled over with the ball almost on his back. He did not have it in his hands. He did not have possession of that ball. But again, battle adversity. The Hornets, you just had a bad call right there. Now you got to go on the defensive side of the ball, get a stop, and then come back the other way and score. You have not been able to score. So if you're Coach Unruh on the Hornets, find something that will be able to get the ball on the inside, use the inside-out game, and be able to score. As of right now, they're on defense. Inside, Johnson gets blocked by Braden Gray. There's a lot of contact being able to play through in this game. The refs aren't calling too much. Pons lost it. Ball's on the floor. And a fight for it. It'll be a jump ball. Possession should go to Kapaun. Yeah, it should go to Kapaun. It will be Kapaun ball. And so Gabe Phillips back in for the Hornets as he's already turned the ball a couple times. So far, the man-to-man has not worked. And then the 1-3-1 is what the Hornets have pulled out now. The 2-1-2 zone has not worked. They have to be able to essentially man up. I say man up, but in a zone, you just have to be able to have a mentality that you're not going to let an open shot through. You're going to close out on the defensive side of the ball. You're going to have your hands up and not let Kapaun Mount Carmel do what they've been doing so far in this game. Here's Kennedy, a jumper off the mark, and then a foul on the Crusaders. That's going to be a foul called on number 12, Stewitsits. And, it's Sats. It's a rough one to pronounce. There's a couple of those on this Kapaun team. But here is Isaacs and the Hornets. Inside, Phillips, he's got that backdoor cut all game if the Hornets want to take advantage of it. And now it's 15-7. I talked about Kapaun Mount Carmel felt comfortable with their lead, but the Hornets can score so fast that that lead is never comfortable. But also, you got to look at it the other way. Kapaun can score just as fast, if not faster, than the Hornets. And so if they're going to allow those open shots like the Hornets have been so far, Kyger Jones is going to hit it 9 times out of 10 from that corner. And the Hornets are going to be in trouble if they keep allowing those. It is 18-7, 3:27 left in the first half. Jacob Byrne drives in. He'll go up with the right hand. No travel call, and Jacob Byrne brings it within 9. A steal by Isaacs. He's double teamed. Isaacs going to go up with the right hand in the bucket. That's a steal and points for the Hornets. 3:05 left. 18-11 now. That was Woodward, who got it across half court. Over to the hands of Jones. Jones guarded by Isaacs. Woodward going to take a 3. That one off the mark, but rebounded by Kapaun underneath. And then number 12, Stulasats, gets the bucket. And it was an assist right there by Danishech. Now 20-11. only a 9-point game. There's no reason to hurry for the Hornets as they played a good defensive first half, but needs to get something on offense. Burns thought about the three in the corner. He will draw a foul. This foul called on Tiger Jones of Kapaun Mount Carmel. Checking in is Jackson Bezdek for the Crusaders, and then for the Hornets we'll have Marion Pons and Josh Dessenberger. Isaacs in the corner. And I can't talk enough about this Crusaders defense. They're doing a great job holding the Hornets. But again, in a man-to-man defense, if you, on the offensive side of the ball, it's kind of the battle of grits, because on the offensive side of the ball, you say, hey, I'm faster than this man. I can make a move and get past him. And then on the defensive side of the ball, it's you are not going to get past me, and I'm going to guard my man, keep my man between me and the basket, keep myself between my man and the basket, and good things will happen. Jacob Byrne in the corner, a three off the back of the rim, and then fought for underneath. That will be a foul called, as Jacob Byrne said that should be a jump ball as his hands were on the ball, but ultimately that'll be a foul called on the Hornets. Hornets have only committed 3 fouls, and 2 of those have been by Eli Isaacs. So here's a little bit of pressure by the Hornets. It's going to fall back, though. Isaacs and Pons are. It's in the hands of Woodward. Over to Stuasitz. Into the hands of number 11, Thingvall. Thingvall will take a three in the corner and knock that down, as he is only a sophomore for this Kapaun team. They are a 6th seed because they are very good, and the Hornets may have beat the Eisenhower Tigers because of the fact that they had lost to them twice this season. Now they're facing a totally new team, totally new crowd, totally new stadium, and it's kind of that adversity that the Hornets need to face and be able to win this game. Just put points on the board. That's the biggest thing right now. Woodward up the floor, got it to Kennedy on the other side. Pons almost got a piece of it, and it looks like he may have got a piece of it, but ultimately it is 25-11, 37 seconds left. The last couple minutes of each quarter is very important, and if the Hornets don't fix things right now, they are in for a long one in this second half. But they can score at least one more bucket, if not 2, and be able to put a little bit of momentum heading into the locker room, calm down. If I'm Coach Unruh, that's the biggest thing I'm telling my players. Just calm down. There's a big crowd out there, a lot of people watching you from both sides. But right now you're not giving any of the Hornets a chance to cheer because not much has gone right. Isaacs going to take it in. Jacob Byrne tries another three, or he doesn't shoot the three. He'll drive in off the mark. Rebounded by Braden Gray, and another jump ball. It'll stay with the Hornets. And I'm not sure Pons and Phillips know that, as 12.3 seconds to go. Phillips out up top. He sees the clock. He knows not much time before half. This is the biggest possession of the game so far. On the inside, Pons gets the finish to go, and we'll head to the locker room down 12 as it is 25-13 here at Kapaun High School in Wichita. An exciting first half. A lot of people are here to watch this game. The Hornets need to come out in this second half, put something together, and hopefully there'll be a party in VC tonight. We'll be back at the start of the second half. Well, after that first half, your Hornets have a 25-13 deficit with about a minute and a half to go before the start of the second half. You know, I mentioned when the Hornets walked into the locker room, they just needed to calm down. And it's a loud crowd. This is probably the loudest environment that they've ever played in. And I know it's one of the loudest environments that I've ever called a game in. And I've been with these guys for the past 3 years. So this is a tough environment to play in. They knew that coming in. But it's also a tough team to play against. And Kapaun came out in that first half, and they put together a recipe to get to a state tournament, which would be held next week, which is the game. This is a game to go to that. And the Hornets did not have the ideal first half, only scoring 13 points. That's not good enough to win you a playoff game. But it's survive and advance, and it's March. So a lot of comebacks come out. Eli Isaac's clapping his hands right there. He wants to get his team ready. Because if the Hornets come out and they're ready, like Kapaun did, they're not down a ton of points. It's only 12. And although that's almost what they scored in that whole entire first half, they can come out and they can be able to score. They got to get stops on the defensive end, though. And right now, Danishek just banged another jumper. And they've had multiple shots from those. They haven't been able to hit too much, but they have been able to score enough. But here, Eli Isaac scored right there. Woodward on the inside gets blocked by Braden Gray. Here's Gabe Phillips, slows it down for the Hornets, then he'll push the floor. He's going to take it on his lonesome drive in, finds Jacob Byrne out on the three. He didn't shoot it. And then Isaacs drives inside, puts it up with the right hand, gets it to go. And just like that, it's a 10-point game through 55 seconds of play in this third quarter so far. Now a minute has gone by. Here are the Crusaders on the offensive end. That'll be a three off the mark, rebounded by Isaacs. Marion Pons up the floor. He's going to take it in with the right hand, put it up off the mark, got blocked from behind, and then the ball's on the floor. Pons got to be able to finish those and finish through contact right there that he wasn't able to do. Jacob Byrne blocked the ball out of Tiger Jones's hands. It goes past half court, but no backcourt violation since Byrne was the last one to touch it. And here are the Crusaders back on the offensive side of the ball. Hornets trying to stick to a man defense as it worked against Eisenhower. Not a lot of defenses worked in that first half. And so Coach Unruh and the Hornets, this is what they need to do. They just need to stick to what's worked this season a lot. And when they play man defense, they tend to succeed. But now you just got to have that mentality that I'm better than you and play good defense. Right there, it's hard when you're 6'9" and Braden Gray. It's hard to move your feet with some of these guard-like big men that are only like 6'5", and that's what number 14, Ancient, is. He drove in, he got the foul call, but he missed the free throw. Mason Burns back in for the Hornets as Pons will head to the bench. Mason Burns needs to get involved on the offensive side of the ball. We don't usually talk about that because he's such a good defender and he doesn't score a lot of points. But in this second half, it's his literally win or go home for him, do or die. And so he needs to get involved on the offensive side of the ball. It's his senior year, and some of his buckets have been momentum shifters this year. Gabe Phillips drives on the inside, off the mark. Isaacs, a rebound off Braden Gray, who tipped it out to him. Another jump ball. This time, this possession goes to the Hornets. And Valley Center will have an opportunity to score right here, put it within single digits, which has not happened in this game very much. Here's Isaacs. Got to get it in. And he'll throw it to Mason Burns. Almost a miscommunication and a steal right there. Kapaun is going to go into a 2-3 defense after running mostly man. So now the Hornets need to figure out how to beat this 2-1-2 or 2-3 defense that Kapaun is running. 5:30 left here in this third quarter. Byrne in the corner, a turnaround three, knocks it down. Jacob Byrne makes it 27-20. The Hornets down by 7, and that's just what they needed. Again, never count these Hornets out, but also never count Kapaun out. They're going to be able to score too, as Isaacs got beat while playing man-to-man defense, and then it was number 13, Johnson, who knocked down the floater. Phillips going to try to take it himself. He had the open jumper, chose not to take it, probably for the better, as he hasn't been hitting his normal rate. I mean, he can score 30 points in a game, but when he's off, he doesn't shoot particularly well, and so he's got to get his teammates involved. As he drives in with the right hand, goes up. Great move by Gabe Phillips, and when you're not shooting well and you're able to do that, that's what you need to do, as there was nobody open. There was not a lot of movement going on the offensive side of the ball. So Phillips just said, hey, I'm going to beat my man. And again, when you're playing man-to-man defense on both sides of the ball, it goes on both sides of the ball. It's who's better than who, and who has that mentality that I'm better than you, as it was a bucket by number 12, Stuasats, and then Eli Isaacs came the other way, made great moves, weaving throughout the defense, and then he'll be fouled. So it will be Valley Center ball underneath their own basket. Marion Pond's back in. Mason Burrs heads to the bench. 31-22 our score, a 9-point deficit. Inside, Jacob Byrne missed the easy shot. Gabe Phillips and looks like it was Kennedy who were on the floor for it. Tiger Jones up the floor, and he missed the layup after Pons and Brandon Gray went up with it, and then Jacob Burns fouled him, but it will not be a shot, so Byrne gets called for his second personal foul, but not too much damage there, as the Hornets have an opportunity right here to stick with their defense and not let anything easy go. Here's Phillips on Stuasats. Over to Woodward. Woodward did good things in that first half for Kapaun Mount Carmel. And Braden Gray's playing way in the post. If it becomes a point where somebody gets an open shot like that right there, Kapaun can be able to put it up and get it to go. That's 2 shots right there from Ancient, and he missed both, but he will be fouled. So he's headed to the free throw line, disappointed in himself for not making those shots, but 3:22 left in the third quarter. Time seems to be dwindling very fast in this ball game, as Ancient makes his first. And now it's a 10-point ball game. 3:22 left. The Hornets were down by 18 against Andover earlier on in the season and ended up making a comeback against an Andover team that is way better. And I shouldn't say that, but they have a lot more talent than this Crusaders team. This Crusaders team right now, the reason they are where they are against the Hornets and in this sub-state championship game is because of how hard they play and the pace they play at. Kennedy, another fast break point. And as I was saying, they play very fast. The Hornets couldn't get back on defense besides Gabe Phillips, and it was a 1-on-2. And Kennedy made the floater over Phillips. 35-22, 13-point deficit. And we'll head into a timeout break as your Hornets need to figure something out on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. So it will be Valley Center ball. Braden Dalrymple checked in while that timeout was happening. Isaacs guarded tightly. He'll get it across. Pons Kapaun's not the best ball handler in the world, but he can make a move when he needs to. He'll find Dalrymple on the inside, over to Isaacs. Isaacs drives in with the right hand, takes it up, off the mark, and that will be a foul called. Looks like they're going to get number 2, Eli Isaacs. Well, that'll be his 3rd personal, and probably not the best sign for the Hornets right there, as Isaacs, one of the key factors of this team, picks up another foul. Hornets going to put on a little bit of pressure, trying to get this Kapaun team off their game. No foul right there. Ancient went in, scored the basket, and now it's a 15-point deficit. If the Hornets aren't careful, this could run away. But Jacob Burns silences the crowd a little bit and takes a 3 of his own to make it a 12-point ball game, 2:18 left. The last 2 minutes of each quarter, I'm going to say every quarter, is the most important. Hornets got to get stops on the defensive side of the ball, and then on offense, have to be able to score, push the ball, score fast. Isaacs, who's trying to push the floor right now, he'll take it in. He'll find Byrne. Byrne thought about the 3, and then Pawn stopped on the cut. A miscommunication right there. Could have been a very electric play if Burns would have found Pawns. And a 3 right there off the mark. Hornets luck out as it was a wide open shot from Stuasats. And Isaacs makes a good move right there. Finds Byrne. Byrne thought about the 3. He'll give it to Isaacs, who drives in with the left hand. And it's off the mark. Dessenberger a rebound. He'll get it. He can't get it to go. And then Isaacs, an offensive board, tries to put it right back up. He'll be fouled. That foul was called on Ancient. And so here is Eli Isaacs at the free throw line. Big free throws to try to bring it back within 10. As he knocks his first one down. 1:29 left in the 3rd quarter. Checking in for the Crusaders is going to be number 11, Thingville, who is the only sophomore on this team that has got playing time so far. Ancient, who just went to the bench. He is a freshman, and he started for this Crusaders team. He's a very good player. And the Hornets don't play Kapaun too often, but if they do, here in the next couple of years in playoffs or in the regular season tournament or something, he's going to be a problem, as he's already had a big game. And this one, it was Woodward who found Thingville. And Isaac's playing his hardest, try to stop the passes, but too quick, too fast, and good ball fakes from this Crusaders team. They are very well coached. As Tiger Jones has the ball at the top of the key. That'll be a 3-point shot, and Bezdek knocks it in. 40-27, 13-point ball game now. Under a minute to play, 56 seconds to be exact. Mason Burns with it. The Hornets, I think, need to bring it within a couple of points if they want to, or excuse me, not a couple of points. Need to bring it within 10 at least to start this 4th quarter, as Kapaun has played phenomenal in this game. That'll be another foul called. This time they're going to, I believe, get number 10. Yes, they will. They'll get Jacob Byrne. That's his 3rd, too. So Eli Isaacs and Jacob Byrne, 2 players that usually don't get in a ton of foul trouble. Isaacs has struggled with it a little bit, but Jacob Byrne is usually never in foul trouble, and he's had to foul multiple times tonight just to be able to, for the Crusaders to not get a wide open layup. And that will be Stuasats, who made his first free throw. Here he is again at the free throw line. This free throw, he knocks it down. 42-27 now. And the Hornets gonna have to make a comeback. It'll be pretty legendary if they're able to do it, but they have to be able to score the ball. Only 27 points through this point. You got to credit this Crusader defense, but if you're the Hornets, just got to score. Isaacs, a 3. That one in and out. Long rebound, and it will be Crusader ball. 19.8 seconds left. Hornets just got to play good, solid defense, not allow any momentum that this Kapaun Crusader team already has. And Ray Flora checks back in. for Valley Center. There's 6 players on the court. So Isaacs will head to the bench. So Byrne and Isaacs check out. Both have 3 fouls each. And here is Tiger Jones and the Crusaders working on their offense once again. On the inside, Danischetz over to Thingville. And he is off on the 3. Ball gets tipped into the hands of Mason Burns. And he's got a floater 3 off the mark. And 42-27, the end of the 3rd period. It's going to be a long 4th quarter if the Hornets don't shape up, score some points. Isaacs and Byrne will check in to start this 4th and final quarter here at Kapaun. We'll be back in 45 seconds. Well, it's the 4th and final quarter. Kapaun will start out with the ball. A lot of fans have traveled to this game. Very packed gym on this side of the court, but also on the other side of the court with Valley Center fans and Kapaun students. But one of these teams will have to go home, finish their season. And right now, the Hornets are down big. And it's a comeback. It's a reasonable comeback for maybe a half, but 15 points in a quarter, the Hornets are going to have to really play good defense. And the Crusaders, what they're going to try to do is just do what they're doing right now, look for the best shot and pretty much stall, as that's what they're going to be able to do if the Hornets don't pick up the defensive pace. And kind of stagnant right now. Hornets are going to switch into their man defense. But if you play man defense in this situation, you have to play hard and deny the passes, which the Hornets are not doing. And already a minute gone by that Kapaun has wasted, and the Hornets could have been scoring points if they want to make this comeback. Braden Gray guarding the perimeter, not the ideal situation. And again, Kapaun can just hold the ball out for the rest of the game. I'm not sure why the Hornets are not getting up and getting into the faces of this Kapaun team. And they're losing time. Time is counting down, and it seems to be counting down a lot faster than normal time, as there's a minute 30 gone by. And if you're the Hornets, why are you still in a 1-3-1 defense is my question, because you have to be able to get a steal and not foul. And I just think a man-to-man, get in the faces of Kapaun. They're doing a great job. Something's got to change right now if you're the Hornets. Checking in for the Hornets is going to be Braden Dalrymple. And looks like now the Hornets will start into their man-to-man defense, switch everything. And you just got to play good defense. Right now they're getting beat. They're totally smoked on the defensive side of the ball, as Isaacs just got smoked to the basket by number 13, Grant Johnson. And now almost 2 minutes have gone by. Hornets down 15, and the Crusaders are at the free throw line. And if that continues, what I just witnessed in the first 2 minutes, then the Hornets will not win this game. They have to score fast, play good defense. And Braden Gray going to be checked back into the game, as Dalrymple will head to the bench. Here's another free throw by Johnson after his first miss. The second one rolls in and out. Phillips with the ball. He's got to go fast. Hornets need to start scoring, and scoring now and at a fast rate. Phillips on the inside. He'll find Isaacs. Isaacs a step back three. Eli Isaacs drains it. 42-30 now. 5:48 left. Now, there's slight pressure, but if you're Kapaun, you're probably not even sweating it right now, as you have this in the bag, and the Hornets aren't switching into any defense where they could be able to get a steal. And that'll force Jacob Byrne. You're getting boos from the crowd and from the Hornet crowd because, I think they realize what I'm seeing up here, and that you cannot run a zone defense when Kapaun's just trying to run the clock out. And there's no shot clock in high school basketball, which I know people are pushing to get that changed. But right now, you're down 12 if you're the Hornets. 5:26 left. You have to be playing the ultimate man-to-man defense. And here at the free throw line, off the mark, and that was a one-and-one right there. And already 8 fouls committed by the Hornets with 5:18 left in this ball game. So if the Hornets foul a couple more times, Kapaun's in the double bonus and gets 2 free throws every trip to the line. Mason Burns drives in, finds Gabe Phillips out for 3. Phillips off the back of the rim. That could have been the play that the Hornets needed. A 3 by Dancis off the mark. Fought for underneath, an offensive board. And Braden Gray, to say the least, just got bullied by number 12, Stulicius. Isaacs a steal. He'll go up the floor, and Eli Isaacs will be fouled as he didn't get the bucket to go. And there was a follow right there by the Hornets, and they could have, and they made the layup. They're going to talk it over. Coach Unruh wants a goaltending, but it will be free throws by Isaacs. These are big free throws. They can bring it within 10, 4:41 left. That's a manageable game. Isaacs knocks down that first one. The Hornets just got to keep Kapaun Mount Carmel from scoring right now. And then on the offensive side of the ball, do what they've done so far, except for times that by 2, really, because they just have to put points on the board. That's as simple as it gets right now. And then Gabe Phillips would be called for another foul, and we're getting 1-and-1 free throws. This will be the last 1-and-1 free throw by the Crusaders until they're shooting 2 every trip at the line. Back in for the Hornets is going to be number 23, Braden Gray, as Mason Burns will head to the bench. These are big free throws if you're the Hornets. If you're Kapaun, these are big free throws to try to seal it, even though I say that with 4:40 left. But the more Kapaun can knock down free throws and the Hornets can't, which Isaacs just went 1 for 2 on, things will start getting out of hand fast if the Hornets aren't careful. It's a 13-point ball game, 44-31. Jacob Byrne with it. He'll take a 3. Off the mark, rebounded by Isaacs. He'll go up with it, and Eli Isaacs can't get the bucket to go, but he's back at the free throw line. And the clock is stopped, 4:30. So they're called free throws for a reason, because these are free points with no time taken off the clock. Number 3, Woodward, has 3 fouls, and he's been a big part of this Crusaders team. So if you're Isaacs, take a deep breath on this second one. He made the first one. A 12-point ball game, trying to make it 11. Here's Isaacs' second free throw, short, off the front of the rim. Looked like he pulled it a little bit, and he's playing tight defense. Johnson got it past half court, finds Jones in the corner. He thought about the 3. Good defense right here from the Hornets, but they are still in a zone. Tiger Jones on the inside, trying to find somebody. Kennedy thought about the 3, but he's not going to shoot it. They have the lead. And here is Kapaun Mount Carmel. Hornets trying to get a trap. I see what they're trying to do, but it's just not working right now. Looks like they may have just switched into a man defense. A timeout called by Kapaun Mount Carmel, and we'll be back after a full timeout here as your Hornets are down 12 to the Crusaders, 44-32. And coming back after the timeout, it will be Crusader ball. 3:53 remaining. The biggest game of these Hornets' careers. Inside, and Kennedy gets the tough finish over Phillips. And just like that, it's a 14-point game. Here's Jacob Byrne around the arc. He'll drive in, picked up his dribble, finds Gabe Phillips, and then Phillips will turn it over once again. Kennedy up the floor as he'll find Danachets, and just those two buckets alone could have just put the game away if you're the Hornets. You just got to score. Isaacs take the three way off. And with 3:13 left, it's not looking good for Valley Center. On the inside, Jones finds Kennedy, and now 50-32. Isaacs the other way, finds Jacob Byrne. He'll drive in with the right hand. He'll go up with it, no call. He'll get his own rebound. He'll go up with it again, that time with the left hand. Off the mark, a foul by Gabe Phillips. And now it's starting to look a little bit out of reach if you're the Hornets. They've played a great season, but when it comes down to it, they haven't been able to win all their games, or, don't have a very good record at least when it is close. And here, they had it where they could have made it close. They could have made it just a few possessions, and then lost it with 3 straight buckets by Cape and Mount Carmel to make it 50-32 now. And an 18-point comeback in 2 minutes and 46 seconds. That's hard to do. Now a 19-point comeback if they were to make that run. Isaacs drives baseline with the left hand. Finds Mason Burns. He'll drive in. He'll go up with the right. Knocks it down. 51-34. And it'll be a timeout, Valley Center. The Valley Center crowd travels well, and they've done a great job. Like I mentioned, the Hornets have not been in this position very much in the last really 20 years, but just in school history in general. And when you get to a sub-state championship game like the Hornets are in right now, a lot of people come support, but also there's a lot of stakes and a lot of experience that this Cape and Mount Carmel team has, because they've played in these big games. They've played in areas where, and honestly, they think they can win a state championship. They came in knowing that they have to win this game if they want to cap off a phenomenal season that they've had. And when you're the Hornets, there's been a lot of games that you've lost and that you feel like you shouldn't have lost. And so now this is the type of game that they would have really liked to win. But with 2:13 left, they're going to start fouling, trying to make Capon miss their free throws and then come back the other way, and the Hornets have to be able to score fast. Don't count them out, but even if they make this surge to end this fourth quarter, I'm not sure they'll be able to come back from this deficit. 52-34, 2:13 left. Kennedy makes his first free throw. And Kennedy knocks down that one too. And I'm not going to call it yet. I don't want to say it's game yet, but you got to give credit where credit's due. And Kapaun has been one of the fastest and grittiest teams that I've seen this year. And that's saying something because the Hornets have played 21-0 Andover. And so Valley Center's done a good job against a lot of teams this year, but I had said they need to play a great game, and they have not played great basketball. Way too many turnovers and mental mistakes. And so with 1:57 left, the Hornets bench is looking for a technical because of the celebration. Little student section fight going on. The refs are talking things over. Looks like there's gonna be free throws maybe, or maybe it will just be Hornet ball underneath their own bucket. So not sure the way the referees decided that one, but ultimately it's the Hornets ball. And so here is Phillips. He'll take a mid-range 10-foot jumper. And Valley Center still has 2 timeouts left. Excuse me, I believe it's 1 after this timeout. And a minute 54 to go. 36-53 your score. But starting to look out of reach if you're the Hornets. But if Kapaun keeps doing those getting technical fouls or whatever happened on that play, I think it was because of the celebration that Kapaun gave off the steal. I think that is the reason Valley Center got the ball. But if they keep making dumb mistakes like that, maybe the Hornets can come back in this game. But as of right now, Valley Center has a big deficit. And just looking back on the season, it's kind of been the story of this second half of the season, as the Hornets haven't not been able to score a ton of points in the game because people like Jacob Byrne and Gabe Phillips have not scored what they did early on or mid-season. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they ran a man-to-man defense against Eisenhower, and it worked. But then against Kapaun, they did not, or it did not work. The man-to-man defense just was not succeeding. And then the Hornets went away from it and weren't able to find a defense that was able to beat this Crusaders team. And that's why they are here. That's why Kapaun is at this point, because they have out-hustled teams and been more physical than teams this year. And I said it in the Andover game when the Hornets were losing. They just got outplayed on the mental side of things and the mental toughness, but also the physicality. And if Kapaun pulls this out, and I wouldn't say anything yet, but after that miss right there, I guess Isaacs has it underneath. He'll throw it off the leg of Kennedy. But again, a great season by the Hornets. And you can't complain. Most wins that Coach Unruh has had here in Valley Center. And they made it to a sub-state game, or a sub-state championship, as Gabe Phillips drives in, puts it up with the right hand. 55-38, minute 25 left. But they made it to this point. And I talked about how big it was for Valley Center High School. But then again, if this is the standard, I don't think Valley Center's doing it right. The standard should be a state tournament. And for a lot of schools it is, Kapaun being one of those schools. The standard is not to lose this game. The standard is to make it to a state championship, and that's what they're looking to do. So congrats to Kapaun starters, as it looks like they're all going to head to the bench. There was a timeout taken by the Crusaders as they are up 55-38, a minute 5 left. And talking about each and every one of these seniors, Braden Gray was a transfer for Valley Center just 2 years ago. He's done a great job coming in, and the growth that we've seen him have last year, you know, there was a lot of times where I'm not sure he could catch a ball underneath of the basket, and this year just his growth is being able to dunk. His athleticism has really propelled him to a phenomenal season. And then to talk about Jacob Byrne and his shooting capabilities, as he has been one of the most fun and electric shooters to watch this year, as we're getting thank you seniors chants. And then talk about Ray Flora. Ray Flora, his leadership goes beyond the basketball court. Talk about him, he's a student body president, and he does a great job. And whatever he does, he's always given 110%. And right here, the game's pretty much over, but Ray Flora is still giving his heart out. All 5 seniors on the court. We'll talk about Josh Dessenberger next, as he's been a great role player for the Hornets this year, scoring 12 points. I believe it was the season high. But not only that, he's just been on the court playing great basketball. And when he goes in, he's been able to make an impact on the defensive side of the ball. But what I like about most is his ability to score the ball, his ability to run the floor, and score the ball on the outside of the arc. As now we're going to get sub-ins for the Hornets after this free throw, as Cade Wilson, Noah Simmons, and Gabe Phillips, Braden Dalrymple, and Hunter Stacy all check in. This is the future of Hornet basketball right here. And then the last senior I want to talk about is number 3, Mason Burns. He hit the shot that beat Arch City, but he has been a phenomenal player and one of the best defenders I've seen. And so 15 seconds left, 56-38. And it looks like this game will be over. Braden Dalrymple is going to take a 3 for good measure off the mark. Wilson not going to do anything with it. 56-38 your score. A great season put together by the Hornets, but they fall to Kapaun Mount Carmel. What a crowd that came out to see this game for both sides. And for those of you watching, thank you for sticking with it all season long here at Hornet Studios. And just me tonight, as we'll close the season. But thank you to Dominic Phillips and Caleb Rose, making this year very enjoyable. And thank you to Coach Unround, too, of the Hornets. And that'll be it for tonight's game. Hornets done for the season, and it's on to spring ball. Congrats to Kapaun Mount Carmel as they're headed to the 5A state tournament in Emporia next week.